Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all the honors, the praises, and all the glory belongs to my Lord and Savior. His name is Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahabashai, Bahasham, Wahavakar Kwadash. The name of the Heavenly Father is Yahweh. Son's name is Yahabashai, in who I reverence, and honors to the apostles that have in the Holy Spirit, and to the hopeful elect across the globe, and to the few, very few brothers and sisters listening and also learning in the hopes of being saved within these last days, because we're living in the last days of the last days. This lesson, basically, every day is a spiritual day, right? Just when I hit the highways and byways today, I noticed an individual, and he looked just like one of the Rothschilds. And I said to him, "You look like a Rothschild." And you know what he done? You know what he done? He just pointed a one way. Well, he just pointed at me. You know, like, bro, keep it down. Bro, he just pointed at me. He looked just like a Rothschild, but he had a bit more hair. Bro, I'm not making this up. Right? Looked hella wealthy. Whether he was a Rothschild or not, I do not know. I believe he was a Rothschild. He looked just like Jacob Rothschild. Just like him. I don't know if Jacob Rothschild has any brothers. I know he has sons, right? But I don't know if he has any brothers. So I'm going to need to look that up. But seeing that we're on that topic, you know, when people talk about the elitists, they put Warren Buffett there, they put Bill Gates, and so forth. These are not your wealthiest men. They just put them on the forefront, right? There's 13 banking families. I don't know all their names. Right? I got it written down somewhere. They know the Collins, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, and I can't remember the Astors. There's 13 banking families, right? And Rothschild is one of them. These are the people that are calling the shots. These are the shot callers, right? I always say it's not your low level. You know how you have people walking around, right? The gatekeepers. Yeah, they're the gatekeepers on the low ground level. But then you have the leaders of this society, which would be known as the elite families. Okay, so we're going to flow with the spirit. And when you go to Genesis 25, it gives you the description of Jacob. I'm sure you know about Jacob and Esau. You know, Jacob was the progenitor of the 12 tribes. He came out, it doesn't give you his description because he came out normal looking. And Esau came out red and hairy, all over like a red garment. Okay. And the same banking elite family, which would be known as the Rothschilds, in Germany, right? When they were banking in Germany, they had a red shield because it represents what? Esau, he came out red. All right. So let's go to Ecclesiastes 10 and 7. I have seen servants upon horses. So them servants upon horses would be the elites. And the horse represent, when you're on a horse, it represents sovereignty, right? So they're in sovereignty now. And princes walking as servants. So why does it say servants upon horses? Yes, because what they won't teach you, right? Once upon a time, the Rothschilds, the so-called white people, were slaves underneath us, which nothing is it's not unlawful to have slaves, by the way. They just teach you that, oh, it's bad. No, it's not unlawful. Because every kingdom, you need someone that's tributary. And this was during the Dark Ages, right? When you go to Job 30, it tells us that. They were in the caves, grunting, and so forth. So they were slaves during the Dark Ages for a long period of time. That's why they were known as servants. And when you look up the Rothschilds, prior to them changing their name to Rothschilds, they were known as what was the word? The Bauer? Was it the Bauer? Right? Yeah, the Bauer, which means peasant in German. Right? Which they're not even Germans anyway, but they were known as the peasant family, which was a slave. Okay? But they changed it to what? Rothschild. Okay? and princes walking as servants upon the earth. So who are the princes walking as servants upon the earth? What are them princes? Going back to Israel, what does Israel mean? Yasharada, prince of power. So now we're working, tables have been turned, we're walking as servants upon the earth due to our transgressions. All right, see how the tables have turned, right? This is where you got to fear Yahushua. Yahushua can send the lowest of lowest people over you, the bases of men. All right. So we went to that, and I want to go to Job, right? And these are powerful families. You won't see them in the news. They won't they won't show you them, right, on the news, because someone with real power, right, stays in the back. And that's another thing as well. Someone that has real power, influence, they don't want to be seen. They stay in the back. Now, in our kingdom, we're not going to have that. We're going to show our face, right? Those that have power. And the reason why they do that, because they're working evil. But let's go to Job 9:24. It says, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked for an appointed time. He covereth the face of the judges. And yes, this is twofold. When he covers the face of the judges, this was during the Renaissance period, when they took down, how did they get into power? They took down the royal families of that time, the Medicis and other families that were ruling, right? They took them down, and some of them married the women of their nation, and somehow they managed to get up in there, all right? So it says he covereth the face of the judges. Who are the true judges? We are. You so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and we are the true judges. Okay. Whereof, if not where and who is he? So Esau, he done a lot of thing called iconoclasm as well, which was a defacing, and painters, you had special art workers that would paint over our images. That's why you see a lot of images in cathedrals in the UK, in Europe. They were originally, yes, dark. And I've got some pictures as well. You know what, Loban, I'm going to get a book, do another lesson on that. It has like, when you see these images, why does it have it has like a dark background to it? Because they've iconoclased it. So they paid someone to do that. Right? That's why it says he covereth the face of the judges. Okay. If not, where and who is he? So if Esau ain't the wicked, then who is? And the reason why it's so hard to identify, because they've changed you can't really link to them because they changed their names. That's another thing, right? They go by different names, right? So we went to that. And I'm going to go to Genesis. He's been blessed with the fatness of the earth as well. Genesis. And it's good that we do these lessons because it's going back to the basics. Let's go to Genesis and go to the blessings of Esau. All right, this was Esau's blessing, right? Genesis 27. And jump straight to 38. And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. Because prior to that, he got supplanted for his birthright. Right? He got supplanted for his birthright. Okay? And because he sold it for a lentil soup. Right? And it says, and Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, the dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. Right? So that's still a blessing. Fatness of the earth. That's why, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. You may be on a train or wherever. I'm talking about in the UK, right? Not just the UK, but just example. And while you're on this train, you're seeing the countryside, you're seeing all that land, all that wealth. That's the fatness of the earth, right? And not just that, right? You got Edomites that are living real good, man. $1 million ain't nothing to a lot of these Edomite families, right? And it says that's chump change, especially to the elites. $1 million is chump change. They spend that within I'm about to say within a day. Some spend that within a few hours. All right, I'm talking about the elitist. Okay, and it says, and the dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven from above. So it even says the dew of heaven from above. That's why who runs the airspace? It's not a Negro that runs airspace. If you want permission to fly a plane, who do you got to go to? Who you got to go? And I'm not making this a color thing. It has nothing to do with color. It's a nation, two nations that are at war, Esau and Jacob. If you want to fly a plane, who do you need permission by? Esau, so-called white people, because they control the airspace. Okay, that was his blessing. The fatness of the earth and the dew of heaven. Okay. So basically, that was his blessing. And it says, and by the sword thou shalt live, and shall serve thy brother. By the sword thou shalt live, because they are a very violent nation as well. And that's why I don't promote violence. Okay? Because that's his blessing. The sword. That is his blessing. Right? Still useless. Right? That's his blessing. So I gotta say that because you got these Muppets out here, right? That want to try to entice me to sin. I ain't gonna sin, but we don't promote weapons. Okay. So by the sword thou shalt live. So he lives by the sword. Right? You can't take this man down by no weapons. No way. You know this man's got weaponry that can take you out in a second. Right? You ain't gonna take this man under weaponry. He's mastered the art of weapons. So this is the characteristics of Esau, right? And the elite families know they're Esau, by the way. They study the scriptures, and because they're so-called Jews, right? The elites, Rothschilds, they grew up on a Jewish background, so they know about the Torah. They read the Bible, and they don't. But by the way, they don't consider themselves British. By the way, they look down upon the British. Okay, I just thought I'd let you know that. Okay. And another thing as well, concerning the royal family was set up by the Rothschilds. And one thing with the Queen, is it me or did the Queen, she's Jewish. She's Jewish. So when they came into power, they set up their own royal families and they thought, oh, we're going to put the Queen as, put her as the Queen. She was Jewish, man. Right? The royal family's Jewish. Because they were set up by the elites. They were set up by the elites. They run everything. They run your stores, they run your Tesco's, they run your airports, they run your school system, they run your music industry. These are the ones that are calling the shots. Right? These are the ones that are calling the shots. There was a famous quote by, who was it? Amshawa. I think it was Amshawa. What was it? What was the name? Maya Amshawa Rothschild. Right? I believe he was the father of the Rothschilds. And he says, I do not care who controls, I do not care who controls the governments. Just give me control of a nation's money. Because when you control a nation's money, then you control the governments. That's why he said that. Right? That was a famous quote. Right? These are the big cats. These are the cats that are calling the shots, man. Right? If you want them shekels, you got to go to them. If you want a deal, you got to go to them. So we went to that. Where else can we go to now? Where else can we go to? I'm trying to think where else. Psalm 73 as well. You talking about some Warren Buffett? Yeah, they have wealth, but it's nothing compared to the elite banking families. They got the old money. I've got news for you as well. Even your contractors and military. Well, who do you think runs the military? The military don't run themselves. The military, they're working on the interest of the bankers. NATO. Who do you think runs NATO? The elites. Right? They're working on the interest of bankers. Your police. Whose interest are they protecting? The interest of the bankers. All right. Let's go to Psalm 73. And 3. For I was envious at the foolish. I was once, because I never understood. I never had understanding. When I saw the prosperity of the wicked, because it seems like the wicked just prosper. You can feel like that sometimes. Oh, he's got an apartment. He's got a high skyscraper apartment and this and. For there are no bands in their death. It seems like that with the elites, right? And yeah, they were ruthless. There was one son that was more ruthless than the others. He had to be. It was a business. It was a banking industry, right? For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm, right? It lets us know, right? Their strength is firm. How is their strength firm? Because the system that we're living in, they run that lock, stock, and barrel. Lock, stock, and barrel. There is nowhere where the Rothschilds do not have their tentacles, right? Except from Cuba, and I think they're trying to get Syria and a few other places, right? And Iran, but we know Iran, Iran ain't having that. For their bands, there's no bands in there, but their strength is firm. How is their strength firm? Through their system, right? And through the slaves. Because remember, it's a pyramid scheme, right? You have Satan, and you have the Rothschilds. Then I believe you have the priests, the priestesses, the witches, that guides the elites also on certain affairs. Then I believe it's military. I believe it's military next. Then you have the military complex, if I'm correct. Then you have the Council of 300. Then I think underneath that, what do you have? Your governments. Then you have the ambulances. Then you have the police. Then you have the teachers. Then you have your lower level masons. Then your citizens. And that's it. That's the pyramid scheme. This is how this place is ran. Hope you're being edified right now. And it says, for they are not in trouble as other men. They're not in trouble. Type in one of the Rothschilds or one of the elite banking families. Look at the smiles on their face. That big smiles. $1 million, $1 trillion smiles. They are not in trouble as other men. Neither are they plagued like other men. They're not in trouble like us. Right? Therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain. That's why they're so prideful. And yeah, they got the old money, the old money. Remember, they funded all the wars that you saw previously. They funded all them wars because war is big money, right? War is big money. There's big money in war, right? Therefore, pride compasseth them about as a chain. Violence covereth them as a garment. And these were a very violent people. That's why when you type in the Khazar Empire, we hired a lot of them. Right? In the Khazar Empire, we hired a lot of them. Right? And the Khazars were known for their violence as well. Their eyes stand up with fatness. Okay? So they're very greedy people. They have more than a heart could wish. Of course they do. They're trillionaires, man. They're not wearing the same clothes that we're wearing. Right? If the Rothschilds, if they want to get some jeans, it's probably, I don't know, £5,000 jeans. Not what we're wearing. They don't go to JD. They don't go JD Sports. Right? They don't go Harrods. They're shopping big. They don't eat the same food we eat. It's fresh off their farms, man. Right? We've got to understand. What they've given us, this is a matrix. And who controls the matrix? The elites. Alright? And they have more than a heart could wish. Not millionaires, not billionaire, trillion. Alright? How much is a trillion? I think is when you double a billion, I think that's a trillion. Alright? So that's enough wealth, right? That's enough wealth to feed the whole entire world. the whole entire earth. Their eyes stand up with fatness. They are corrupt. They speak wickedly concerning oppression. They speak loftily. They set their mouth against the heavens. Okay. And their tongue walketh throughout all the earth. Right? So these are people that hate God. They think they're God. Right? Because they've been ruling for so long. I don't know how long has it been now. How long has it been? If you count the time from, what's it, 1600s they got into power, so that's 17, 18, 19, 2000. They've been ruling for about 440 years, something like that. 50. Okay, that's a long time. Okay, so they set their mouth against the heavens. Okay, the news, even the news that you're watching, the propaganda, all that rubbish, who do you think controls the news? They control every sector of the market. Okay. And it says, therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out unto them. And they say, how doth the Most High know? Right? And that full cup is going to be that full cup of wrath, by the way. And behold, these are the ungodly who prosper in the world. So the ungodly are prospering. It says these. That, bro, they're not going to show you these people on the news at all. Okay? But they're the ones that are calling the shots. They just give you parliament. They give you their little speakers. They give you the parliament, and they give you a few rich people that are in a higher positions, but they use them as a cover. Okay. These are the ungodly who prosper in the world. They increase in riches, so they're just getting more wealth, more wealth, more wealth. Right? More and more and more wealth. Okay. So with this, you know, I'm gonna shut off. But you know what? I don't want to shut off without having to include Yahweh Shai, because he is Kings of Kings, Lord of Lords, right? I don't want to give the enemy credit and just shut off there, because the only reason they're given that power because they were given it by the Heavenly Father for an appointed time. Right? But when you go to Daniel's, because there can only be one king on the throne, right? And this is why they're getting worried. Oh yeah, and they do know who we are as well. You know, particular men of the Lord, bro. They watch. Don't think the elite saint watch your videos. They know who you are. They've studied you. They know your family. Because all it takes for them to see you once, or research. Oh, we know his family. Oh, him. Yep, we know his family. His family was working for us. We had his great grandmother. Bro, the elite study us. They watch our videos, and they're trembling in their boots. I'm telling you now. Who do you think runs the gang stalking program? It's the elites, right? Who do you think runs the program? Right? When you see people walking around with their hands in their pocket, two hands behind their back, one hand in their pocket. Why do you think they're doing that? Huh? Why do you think they're doing it? Because they've been told to be elites, right? But these are just low level. See, on a foot basis, you have foot soldiers as well. Okay. So let's go to Daniel's 3. We're going to shut off. This has been very interesting. Go to Daniel's. And I'm going to go to that bit where Daniel's 3. Alright. Go Daniel's 2 and 44. Check this out. Right? And go straight to verse 42. You know, go to 40. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces, subdue all things, and iron breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. Whereas thou sawest the feet and toes part of potter's clay and part iron. This represents this last kingdom that we're in. The US, right? And you have NATO as well. You have weak nations within the EU. Greece is a weak nation, by the way. Okay, economic. And you got strong. nations within EU. Germany's always been a strong nation. And the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it the strength of iron, for as much as their sorrow is the iron mixed with merry clay. The merry clay represents the weak nations economically, right? And that's why you have something called the International Monetary Fund, right? To fund them, and then they put them in debt. But who's that ran by? Elites. And as the toes of feet were part iron and part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong, partly broken. That's why you have so much division. And whereas thou sawest iron mixed with merry clay, they shall mingle themselves with the seed of men, but they shall not cleave one to another, even as the iron mixes not with clay. And that's why you have nations trying to, we need another nation to join NATO. Some nations don't even want to join, right? And in these days, in the days of these kings shall the power of heaven set up a kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and the kingdom shall not be left to another people. But it shall break in peace and consumes all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever. Right? For as much as thou sawest a stone which was cut out of the mountain with hands, and that it break in peace, and the iron and the brass and the clay and the silver, and the gold and the great power have made known to the king what shall come to pass hereafter, and the dream and the certain and the interpretation thereof. Right? And this is the dream that was broken down to Nebuchadnezzar at that time. I didn't go into all of it from the first chapter, but the reason I shut off on this to let you know, ultimately, this kingdom is going to be taken down by the Messiah, and there's only going to be one kingdom, and that's Yahushai's kingdom, which is going to reign forever. Lord willing, this was edifying. And this lesson was just to let you know who's really calling the shots, man, the shot callers. Okay, and I thought it was interesting today because I'm not making this up. I saw an individual, he looked like one of the Rothschilds. He looked like Jacob Rothschilds. Okay. So with this, I hope this was edifying. And until the next time, Shalom.